What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. And now that it's been a couple of years since Wano Country has ended in both the manga and the anime, we're starting to see what I always thought was going to happen start to happen now. And that is, we are seeing primarily people start to focus in on the negative aspects of Wano Country, but are not really focusing in as much as on the positives. And for me, I love Wano Country, right? I'm always going to love Wano. Like even though Wano has some negatives, and believe me, they have some negatives that I hate about One Piece, right? Wano has one of the some of the biggest negatives in the entirety of the series, but for me, Wano will always be one of my favorite arcs, no matter what, despite its flaws, despite how I hate a lot of the stuff that happens in Wano Country. I'm always going to love that arc, like for just my own personal reasons, right? There are personal reasons why I'm always going to love Wano. Like first and foremost, when I was on Twitter one day a couple years ago, and I'm just scrolling, and then I see these clips from 1015, right? And I didn't know what this was at the time. Like I knew barely anything about One Piece. I knew about Luffy, and that was it. I saw Luffy charge up like an attack and hit this big guy, and he just goes to the ground. And I'm like, who is this? Who is this villain? Why does Luffy look so cool in the anime now? And what is this? What is this attack that he used? And then when he put the hat on, when he put his straw hat on, and he said, "I'm going to be king of the pirates," that's when I was like, "Okay, it's time for me to start my One Piece journey." And because of Wano, I started One Piece. And with that in mind, Wano was always my end goal for One Piece, right? I started One Piece with the goal of reaching Wano country someday, right? Wano was always like that final elusive goal that I've been waiting to get to when it comes to One Piece. So I started my journey, I got to Wano, and now I'm officially a week to week reader of One Piece because of all those clips that I saw on Twitter that day. So Wano is always going to hold a special place in my heart, man. Like I don't think there's ever going to be a moment where I don't love Wano. And like even just without that personal aspect of it, there's so much about Wano that I love still to this day. I love like just when we see Luffy and his crew from Whole Cake Island get into Wano for the first time in the anime, you feel that shift in quality. That first Wano episode, you feel it. Like when you see Zoro fighting all those scabbards, like just with the knife, you feel the quality shift, man. Like I loved that. Like Wano is such a revolutionary time for the One Piece anime, man, that I still feel like sometimes gets not talked about as much these days. Like for me, Wano saved the anime. And yes, the One Piece anime still clearly has its issues, right? I'm never going to deny that. I'm never going to come on here and say the One Piece anime is perfect. It is far from perfect. But because of Wano, you're able to see how the foundation has been set for like the One Piece anime in the future. Like there are so many animators that came from Wano that are still there today. Like perfect example, Vincent Chansard, the guy I talk about on here all the time. We found Vincent Chansard on Wano, and he's still working on One Piece to this day. So Wano is just so important because not only did it set the tone for the anime in particular, like with those opening episodes, but it also helped cultivate so many animators that we know of today. Like Wano was essentially a playground for a lot of animators, man. And you can feel it a lot of time in the episodes. And that's what's so special about it. Wano is just like a big playground for so many of these animators to experiment in, and like they pretty much didn't really have any like limitations. That's what I liked about it, man. Like you could really feel that the creative like inspiration was flowing at that time, and I loved it, man. Such a good time to be watching the anime. But sure, the manga wasn't as great for me just because I didn't like how the paneling was being done. So I was primarily an anime only for Wano for a lot of it. So I just watched a lot of the anime for Wano, and the Wano anime, man, is always going to be special to me. Because, like I said, when Luffy and his gang first got into Wano country, you felt that shift. Like, all, man, even just like Luffy's first fight with Kaido. Like, I know a lot of people say, oh, that's like a Dragon Ball fight now. But to me, I loved that fight because I didn't think we were going to see a Luffy versus Kaido fight that early. I always thought that their fight on the roof was the first time that they fought. So to see Luffy fight Kaido for the first time in that little town and he gets decimated, was not expecting that. Was not expecting him to lose like that. So when I got to see that, I was like, okay, this is fire. So, like I said, another positive for Wano. But I do think though that the biggest positive for Wano is always going to be 1015. Episode 1015 by Megumi Ishitani is still to this day such a landmark achievement in anime, right? Nothing touches that episode in terms of overall quality. It is still the standard for One Piece today and for a lot of anime that a lot of anime strive to reach. Nothing has been able to touch it. I know a lot of people like to say that some action episodes are better than 1015. No, nothing touches 1015 in terms of overall quality. That episode is still the standard, and it's probably going to stay the standard until Megumi Ishitani comes and does another episode someday. But I don't know if she will. I don't know. I do think sometimes that 1015 might have been her final appearance, like as a director on a One Piece episode. I think she's just doing too many things now, right? I like 1015 is so special because that was pretty much her big break. So we got to see her big break in Wano, right? We got to see a very promising career flourish before our eyes in Wano country. That's why I love Wano, man. Wano has so many great success stories for it, like with Megumi Ishitani. Man, I love Megumi Ishitani, dude. She's one of the best things that's ever come out of One Piece. Like she's the best thing that's come out of Wano. Definitely. Like she's still involved in One Piece to this day. You can feel her touch all over the series now because of 1015. That's how influential 1015 was, man. Like 1015 is so important because of how it directly affects like how One Piece is produced now. If you really think about it, that's why I love it. And then the final reason why I love Wano Country, man, is because of Gear 5. Gear 5, when I first saw it, like when I caught up, Gear 5 is one of the best things, man. That transformation is so good. I love the story implications. I love how Luffy is basically Nika. I love everything about it. Like pretty much how it's just Toon Force the whole transformation, man. I love it. Gear 5 is one of the best things that I've ever seen in any anime because of how creative it is. There are literally no limitations. The sky is the limit with Gear 5, and you can tell the animators love that. So Gear 5 is just incredible to me. I That was one of the things that with Wano Country, you didn't think they were going to pull something off like that. And if you really go back, Gear 5 is foreshadowed perfectly throughout the course of the series, man. Like when I was watching it for the first time, like all of One Piece, I didn't pick up on it at first, but when you go back and you see everything laid out, you see how Oda set this up perfectly. And then it all culminated in Wano. That's why I will always love Wano because of how it's pretty much the birth of Gear 5. And I love that, man. But I think that's going to do it for me. But let me know what you guys feel down in the comments below. Do you guys like Wano as much as me? Do you guys still think to me, or like Wano is still one of those great arcs? Or do you guys think completely differently and you guys don't really like Wano at all? Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'm going to talk to you guys next time.